Hey Gary, it's excellent to speak to you today.
Hey, thanks for having me. I'm excited.
Yeah, me as well. I think we connected over Instagram like not too long ago in a moment when I was starting to publish content, putting my face out there a little bit, and I had one reel that went off that was about um, why I'm not on Grinder, and it seemed to hit a cultural nerve. It was the first one that kind of popped off a bit. My first time like getting some exposure, getting seen by people, a lot of people validating the same kinds of experiences that I was having. And some people kind of having different perspectives and different wounds emerging in the comment section of what's a very sensitive topic of attraction and this whole gay culture that we're in. For me, it opened
Yeah.
up questions about what we're building in gay culture.
Yeah. Well,
Mm,
it's interesting that that reel of yours is the one that popped off because I
mm,
had a reel that popped off recently, which was not about Grinder, but it was about something very much linked, I think. And it was the theme of the one thing that all gay men want is belonging.
mm-hmm,
And I think that that one like popped off and like went mini viral. I think it had like 20,000 views and lots of
mm-hmm.
interactions. And I think the way that that's connected is that what we want is belonging rather than fitting in. And Grinder and similar seem to uh, affect our capacity to find belonging. And I think that what Grinder does is it creates a sense of trying to fit in rather
Mm-hmm.
than finding belonging. And I think those two things are very different. And so it's interesting that those two of our reels, which I think are really connected, seem to pop off. They are really hitting a nerve with gay men.
Yes, there is a nerve there. And yeah, so I heard the language first from you of talking about this belonging thing. That sounds great. I definitely want some of that. I tend to get some of it in some circles, and then in some spaces I don't find it. And what for you characterizes that difference between belonging? What is belonging versus what were the others? What do you
So
contrast that with as
you would
well?
have fitting in,
Hmm.
trying to be good enough, trying to find your place, and then belonging. And I think the difference
Hmm.
is with so let me give some context. I have created a community for gay, queer, bi, and trans men called Pleasure Medicine, and it's a bi-weekly connection workshop and sober ecstatic dance. And
Hmm.
I created that in London because there wasn't one for GBTQ men. And my background as a gay man, I'm 42 years old, so I grew up young in the gay scene before there were smartphones, when the internet was like quite new. And I grew up in London. So I was going into the gay capital of London from the age of 16, 17. So I've been in the gay world and the gay scene for pretty much my whole adult life. And I never found a sense of belonging in the gay community, which I don't think there exists one. I think there are places that gay men go, but community is cultivated and created. So there's a difference just between places that queer people go and community. And so I discover the gay scene at 16, 17 years old, finally thinking, oh my God, I found my people. This is where I'm going to be happy. This is where I'm going to be comfortable. This is where I'm going to be able to be myself. And lo and behold, I walk into my first gay club, my first gay bar, and I feel totally isolated, totally alone, and that I don't belong.
Hmm.
And that I didn't realize that's what was happening then, but I immediately start to change myself, edit myself, try to be different, to fit in to what was very obviously a set of categories that we
Yes.
have to fit into as gay men to be understood or acceptable.
Hmm.
And and then spend the next 20 years going, am I masculine enough? Am I muscular enough? I'm too skinny. I'm too sensitive. I'm too feminine. I'm too this, not enough that. And exhaust myself and depress myself with trying to find the the part of the puzzle that I fit into this world.
Mm.
And there are many wonderful things about gay clubs and gay bars and gay spaces and queer spaces and LGBTQ spaces, but there's also lots of problems with those places and spaces. And so for me, that's the difference between fitting in and belonging. And at Pleasure Medicine, at the top of my value list is that every gay, queer, bi, or trans man that walks into that space, my goal is that the space is created as much as possible, that as soon as they enter, they feel a sense of belonging.
Mm.
Now, I can't force them to feel that. They have to be open to that and they have to meet me there. But my intention is that I do everything I can to create a place where people feel that they belong, rather than having to try to fit in or be cool or perform or put on the mask or the armor that we used to wear as gay and queer people. So for me, that's the difference between belonging and fitting in. And to put it as simply as possible, I think belonging is where you feel you can be completely yourself without having to change.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. What you experience of yourself from the inside, that's what you're allowed. That's what you're encouraged to display on the outside. Something like this, the
Exactly.
belonging. Mm-hmm. And then what?
That takes practice. That takes facilitation. That takes somebody stepping up and leading and guiding and saying and giving permission to people, you are allowed to come here and be nervous, be awkward, be vulnerable, be scared, be unsure of yourself, as well as be fabulous and wonderful and in your essence without fear that you will be too much. So there's no too little or too much in this space. There's just authenticity. And again, authenticity has to be practiced, because I don't think there'll be a gay or a queer person watching this that will say 100%, I'm authentically myself 100% of the time. I just don't think.
Unless they're speaking from a place of ego and their ego is saying that they've got it all sorted out.
Right. I mean, I'm a community leader. I teach authenticity. I teach vulnerability. Am I being myself 100% of the time in the world? Of course not.
No.
I still have fear of other gay and queer men. I still feel in many ways that I'm still not good enough. I go to the gym. I've just moved into this new area, and this is such a gay and queer area. It's Hackney Wick in East London. It's gay, 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 gay. And it's fabulous. I love it. I walk into my new gym and there's these fit, buff, muscular gays. And I immediately just go, oh, why am I wearing this vest top? I need to wear a jumper to hide my little arms. I need to wear jogging bottoms to hide my cocktail stick legs. I just feel so self-conscious. And it's okay. It's okay. It's a human condition to feel that. We have to work on it. We have to embody our self-appreciation, our self-love, our self-acceptance. But if we can just accept that this is part of it, this is part of being human, it's part of being gay and queer, and to find a space where you can genuinely just go, oh yeah, I feel nervous about being surrounded by all these gay and queer men, but that's okay. Let me move with it. Let me dance with it. Let me dance my way through it. Let me see what happens if I just stay here and be present with what is really happening inside me. And that's how I facilitate the experience.
And that starts to answer a question, a deeper question that I have about the creation of the space in general. And that's what is happening at Pleasure Medicine that isn't happening in that gym. And So as you answer that, you might also be able to give me a little preview of what comes out of that. Is it like a nice event? Everybody has a really good dance and comes out with some sort of catharsis, or does it start to build bonds within that particular community? Does it make it outside of pleasure medicine? What are you seeing?
Great question. All of the above and more.
Mm-hmm.
So I'll just explain the format. So the guys arrive. Some of them have been coming for a year and 3 months. Some guys come to every single session. Some guys come to one session, say it's not for me, and I'm never coming back.
Mm.
Some guys come every couple of sessions based on their schedule and their work and other commitments on a weekend. So they arrive in the space 15 minutes before we start. There's an opening circle where I create a circle of safety and a container of care, which is where I really take everyone through the guidelines on how to be in the space. And our values are treat everyone with kindness, care, respect, and the highest positive regard that you can, which means trying to drop your judgments, but also allowing judgments to be there and then letting them float away. Look after yourself and each other. Do what you want to do and don't do what you don't want to do. After that, we go into a 45-minute facilitated connection workshop where I invite the guys into a selection of games, practices, and exercises designed to gently melt the masks, take off the armor that we wear, break down the walls that we put up to hide and protect ourselves. And it's all very playful. It's very light. I'm a great believer in healing through play. This is not a trauma release space. Some guys find it very therapeutic, but it's not a therapy experience. You want to do your trauma healing, you want to do your therapy, go work with a specialist in that field. I am a trained therapist. I'm trauma informed, but I'm not a therapist in this context. I'm very clear about that. We're connecting and healing and transforming through play and lightness. And so the way that I facilitate it takes people deep, but I'm also very light. I come from a performance background as an actor and as a cabaret performer in musical theatre, and I've been on stage for a lot of my life. So I bring that real authentic performance quality. So I crack a joke, I make them laugh. One of the things, you know, for example, I'll bring a bit of light, fun profanity. So I'll say in ecstatic dance, sometimes somebody will reach out to you on the dance floor and want to connect with you, and you just might not be in that space. So the universal symbol, if you don't want to dance for somebody, is no bitch. And it's just that lightness that, like, it really makes them laugh. It stops it from being too earnest and spiritual and namaste. You know, we're gay, we're queer.
And for consent to be this, like, tightening of the rectum so that you don't, like, let anybody in and all of that. No, this easy flow of, like, hey, we're going to negotiate this together.
Exactly. Yeah. And you know, we're gay, we're queer, we love drag, we love performance. And so I really love to bring that quality to the facilitation, because it just it allows a sigh of relief. We're here to have fun, we're going to have a good time, but we're also going to connect. And the thing about gay spaces and queer spaces, and the reason I do it this way, is that as soon as you enter a gay club or a gay bar or even a lot of gay workshops, something in us men, gay men, immediately clenches. And we start scanning the space, looking for who's here for me, who am I for, am I good enough, am I attractive enough to be in this space, and we start this scan, and we're all looking and scanning, and I've experienced it my whole life. That is nipped in the bud at pleasure medicine in the first few minutes, because I am done with that energy. We are humans.
How do you nip it?
Nip it in the bud. I make them laugh. I name it. I explain that that's what happens, and then I get them into pairs and groups pretty quickly to start sharing. So I have specific connection questions. So they're actually talking. So one of the questions might be, what was the reason that you booked a ticket today? What do you want from this experience? 90 seconds each, share. And the room just starts buzzing with communication. And that's all that's required. You just witness and hear each other communicate and just go, you know what? Oh my God, you're similar to me. I totally hear you. Or you're totally different to me, but there's something about you I really like.
Hmm.
And when they're walking around the space, I suddenly say, pause, find another pair or find another person. And I'll just like shout out something like, no searching, seeking, or scrolling. We're not on Grindr. We're not looking for who we fancy. We're just meeting a new friend. And it's just,
Name
that
it.
lightness. Name it. Don't shame it, but just dissolve and then make them laugh about it. It's like, look,
Yeah.
we're not here to find a hookup. You may meet somebody you fancy. That's beautiful. I hope you do. But that's not the reason that we're here. We're
Mm,
here to learn how to be together in celebration and
mm,
playfulness and to build our connection skills and our confidence skills. And then the
mm.
next exercise could be something like an embodiment practice. So they stand back to back. And then I play a beautiful piece of classical music and I get them to answer the question they just answered in words, but through movement. And so they're really learning to connect and speak through physicality and body. And then there's just more exercises like that. Very playful, very light, but also you can see there's something happening where this is actually quite profound for a lot of men to connect in this way. The
Mm.
practices are very simple, very easy. There's nothing complicated or complex,
Mhm.
but to simply stand and be listened to and witnessed and then move with another male body. For so many of the guys, it's something they've never done before. And it's a revelation. It's a revelation. And I've been doing this a year and 3 months, and every time I step back and watch, it brings tears to my eyes.
Mm. I'll add my
To see,
experience to that, and just from being a participant in facilitating situations of touch, somatic touch, and especially in the context of contact improv dancing. Oh my goodness, it's been such a teacher over the last year that I've been dancing contact improv that now I'm feeling people's bodies and feeling people's embodiment, feeling
yeah,
the way that somebody moves, feeling the way that somebody responds to me, feeling the emotion and the tension that they have within, feeling them release and open to me and touch, feeling them tune into me. And it mirrors dynamics that we get sitting across from somebody at coffee. There is a kind of tuning, there is a kind of like releasing, relaxing, opening. But to get it in the body, to get it through our actual senses, just it's so deep. And we have, let me count them up, zero chances to do that in modern culture, except for in the sexual act. In the sexual act, but we're not generally doing that super consciously either.
and I
So
don't
you,
think many of us are doing it in the sexual act either.
right, yeah, and so there's not all of this. There's this my broad judgment that I'll make is that it's easy to go for satisfaction and wish fulfillment, completion of desires in the sexual act, but without acknowledging this layer of attunement and movement and reaching deeply into somebody and allowing yourself to be touched, then you don't get that in normal waking, walking around life, and you don't get that along with the wish fulfillment in the sexual act either.
Yeah, it's really interesting what you said about the tuning that happens and reflecting that into like meeting somebody for coffee or just being with somebody in a different context.
Mm,
What I've heard from so many of the guys that have been coming regularly is how it's impacting their personal life outside of the community. Guys are saying, oh, I just feel that I'm so more at ease on dates, or I'm so much more confident in myself at parties or house parties. The way that we've done the back-to-back exercises or the stick balancing exercises, I've really started to see how in sexual dynamics, I'm listening to the movement of the body that I'm with so much more deeply. Now, I don't actually speak to that in the session because I don't want to try to too much control what people take from it. I want them to assimilate that information in an embodied way, in their own unique way, because they're going to take it differently. But I'm definitely super conscious of these micro skills transferring in that exact way that I just
hmm
described. And it's so deep, as you say, and yet it's not rocket science. There's nothing simpler than resting your back against another body and moving, and that person mirroring your movement. right? It's so simple, but the feedback on that exercise alone is wow. Like it was just so beautiful and tender.
Yeah.
And they hug afterwards and they thank each other and there's watery eyes and there's smiles. And I just think, why haven't we had that in our gay and queer world? You know, the reason I created pleasure medicine is because what I've experienced I live in London. Like I live in one of the best cities in the world for being yourself, for being gay, for being queer.
Mm.
And the options that I had growing up, there were like 3 options: gay bars, gay clubs, the gay sauna. I didn't know of any gay workshops or gay tantra
Hmm.
or gay embodiment. It just wasn't available. I didn't know about it. There's so much more now, but you know, obviously with that, I didn't have the internet growing up, but now we have the internet and there's so much more coming out now, which is beautiful, like tantra workshops and
Hmm.
gay authentic relating and retreats I'm seeing all over Instagram where the phones go away, the apps go away, and it's all about touch and connection
Hmm.
and relating and getting, you know, being more authentic and emotional and vulnerable. So it's so much better now,
Mm.
but still I think quite limited.
And I have a big question. I have a big question, and then I'll give you a specific question about your experience and project. My big question is first that we are kind of a community that relates first and foremost, that identifies ourselves and each other first and foremost by sexual identity. There's that sexual nature to this community, hence saunas, bars, clubs, this kind of thing. These are the meeting spaces. The big question is what grows out of that? Like, does gay culture stay there? It doesn't, because there are projects like yours. There are a lot of other things, a lot of other spaces now emerging for gay men to connect. But then specifically with pleasure medicine, I've heard you say fun. I've heard you say connection. I'd like to know, how does pleasure medicine relate with the terms sensual, sexual, and erotic? How
Yeah,
much, if any, do of those elements enter into what you're doing?
such a good question, and it's very related to the other side of my work because I trained as a sexologist, and so I'm a
Mm.
somatic sex therapist. So I help gay men to heal sexual dysfunction, embody their fantasies and kinks and fetishes in a healing, self-exploratory way, as a gateway into self-realization and healing. So at the moment, those 2 worlds, pleasure medicine and my sexology work, are very separate. But a lot of my training and facilitation comes into pleasure medicine because
Mm.
it's all somatic, it's all nervous system, it's all psychological, mind, body based stuff. So pleasure medicine, I want to be a non-sexual space
Mm.
explicitly because I want to create an environment where we can take a break from it. I'm not going to do a set like we have so many spaces where that's available to us. We have cruise clubs, we have saunas, we have apps, we've got so much.
Mm.
And the feedback that I get, and I just listen to my community because my community have taught me what pleasure medicine is. I thought it was one thing at the beginning, it's now something completely different based
Mm.
on what the community are telling me. And what I hear time and time and time and time and time again is it's so refreshing to be in a space where I just, within 10 minutes, forgot about hooking up. I forgot about sex. I just started to see, quite a few gay men have said the words, I just forgot that we were all gay. Like I was
Uh-huh.
just, it's multi-generational. I've got guys in their 70s. I've got guys in their 20s and everything in between. I've got every body type, culture, color, expression of GBTQ man. And is there an eros in the room? There definitely is. It's sweaty, it's hot, it can get a little bit musky. It's men together. I think there's always going to be a sense and an energy in the space. And I think that can be celebrated. I think it's natural. I don't think there's anything wrong with it at all. Do guys meet and go for coffee and go on dates and hook up? And of course they do. I celebrate that. I hope that they find what they're looking for in a way that is actually a lot more conscious and connected and real. But I'm not facilitating the space for that to happen. And I'm not facilitating anything sexual. Am I facilitating sensuality? For sure. But for me, sensuality isn't necessarily sexual, and erotic energy isn't necessarily sexual. I think life is erotic and sensual, like the pleasure of food, the pleasure of nature, the pleasure of movement and dance. All of it for me is sensual, and those things have the same basis as sex. They're life force. So I would replace sexual energy with life force energy, and life force energy creates nature, it creates food, it creates the capacity to dance and move our body. So, you know, it's nuanced and complicated, but I do say on the website, pleasure medicine is a non-sexual space. Obviously, I've got the words pleasure and medicine, so I think that's just the name that came to me. That's the name that's sticking, and I love it. But it has been misconstrued as, oh, what's the medicine part? What's the pleasure part? And so I'm very explicit in pleasure in multidimensional ways, but in the space, it's not sexual.
And I'm curious about this line that we heard a second ago, that men come in and after a while they say, like, I forget we were gay. Or I forgot that we're gay. I forgot that this is a gay space and a gay community, which to me, like, it sounds like hidden under that phrase is a bit of discomfort around the gay community. I don't know if you see it the same way. There's a little bit of discomfort, and they were like relieved from that. It's like, for a moment, this was something different. For a moment, this was outside of the box of the gay. Do you feel that?
Yeah, what I get from those, because it's a comment that's come up a lot. What I
Mm-hmm.
get from it is just that they have an experience of being so present and so embodied in their truth, whether that is they are awkward, nervous, and vulnerable, or in their fabulous showgirl energy, or their tribal warrior king energy, whatever. It doesn't matter. You don't have to be ecstatic and fabulous to be, you know, embodied and in your essence. You can be nervous and scared and vulnerable. But regardless of that, I think when you become so present and embodied with your truth, the story of being gay, and more importantly, the story of being surrounded by other gay and queer men, dissolves away. And you're just with other people.
Mm.
And so what I think they mean by I forgot we were all gay is I let go of the stories and narratives that I've carried around being in a space with other gay and queer men. Because I don't think many gay and queer men are comfortable around other gay and queer men. I think we're all uncomfortable around each other. I think we're all nervous of each other. I think we're all scared of being rejected by each other. And this is something that we're all carrying inside, and yet we're putting on this performance of confidence and self-assuredness. And of course there are going to be gay and queer men out there that are comfortable in themselves and, you know, not as scared of rejection as some others. But I think on the whole, I'm very sensitive and empathic to this thing, and I can see it, and I can feel it, and I know it's true because I do it myself. I walk into a gay bar and I immediately, my confidence goes boom, because I don't want to be the one that's cast out of the tribe, sent out of the cool group, not this enough and not that enough. And in my research, I mean, I've worked with gay and queer men, a lot of them now in my community, and I hear this experience time and time again. And so it's really magical, I think, not to deny our gayness. I don't think that's what they mean. I just think they mean that they forget the stories and the narratives and the fear that comes with being in that space.
Yes. Yes. There's a dynamic in our gay culture that I'm contemplating, and I really, so far, I just have the grip of my own experience. I'm only beginning to have conversations about this kind of thing. So I'll kind of float this and see how it lands with you. Um, there's a dynamic as we're walking into these spaces of being surrounded by my sexual prospects or just prospects in general, prospects for connection, prospects for community, prospects for sex as well, and my competition. And when I'm face to face with somebody, they are my prospect and my competition at the same time. And some of what we're talking about of having difficulty in community and lacking touch and all of this is kind of true across the board. Gay, straight, queer, and all sorts of identities don't find some of these dynamics. That will be really healthy, healing, and good for our communities. But then this one in particular, I feel like is a gay phenomenon, lesbian phenomenon. The looking, being in a community where there's an attraction, a desire, and also a competitive element with the same people. It's the same group of guys. I don't know if there's a question in there, but just a you're welcome to comment, but I'm just going to put that there on the board as this is a bit of what we're trying to work with, work against, dissolve, to start to point that energy in different directions so that the community is more flexible, so that the community can dance together rather than like compete over drinks at the rainbow flag bearing club or something. There's a little bit of this natural dynamic that we uniquely have that's worth addressing, assessing, seeing like how we can work with that energy. Is this something that you see as well?
I see it absolutely in my own life. What you described about entering a space and like analyzing my prospects, who I want, who's getting in my way of having who I want, and actually what's more potent for me is who wants me. That one's a really painful, tender one, because for so much of my life I felt unwantable or undesirable by other men. And it's only in my last couple of years, really, as I've entered my 40s, that I've started to recognize and feel like, oh, I think I have got something that some men want, whether that's my personality, my mind, my body, my sexuality, sexiness, or whatever it is. And it's only in the last couple of years that I even noticed that I was getting looks or smiles, and a couple of my gal pals were like, "Oh my god, you've been checked out today," like a couple of times. I'm like, not a clue. I just assume that I enter a space and nobody will want me. And I'm not an unconfident person. I don't have what would be considered like self-loathing or low self-esteem. I'm quite, actually confident in so many ways. But there's this thing that happens around gay men where it's like, oh, none of them are going to want me. So that one's really...
Wait, I just want to share this thought that was mulling through my mind today as I was preparing to chat with you. Just doing like a little bit of free writing, being like, with all my gay baggage, let's see what here is going to be maybe useful to talk about, and we're not going to talk about all of it. But one that came up for me is just this other question about as a man attracted to men, I compare myself to who I'm attracted to. I compare myself to the type that I'm attracted to in a heterosexual relationship. There tends to be this very natural kind of polarity. One person takes like a kind of feminine role, and then they're attracted to this polar division of maybe a masculine character, for example. And then in our situation, I'm kind of attracted to a style that's different from me, but then I compare myself to that style for how attractive I think that I am to other people.
Yeah.
Does that make sense? Yeah.
I definitely think that is a same-sex thing, because I know that women do that against each other. So women will compare themselves against other women. I know this. I've got so many
Hmm.
women friends. And I think straight men would compare themselves to each other as well. I don't think the opposite sex necessarily does that in as a potent way. And
Right.
then with gay men, see, I think I'm far too concerned with just thinking about myself. I don't, I'm not consciously aware of comparing myself to somebody I find attractive because I'm way too concerned with like picking myself, like what's wrong with me
Mm.
that I'm not even have much energy for going, oh, they're like that and I'm like this. I suppose there is
Mm.
that going on. So I'm like, oh, he's like super buff. I'm not buff enough, so therefore he won't like me. That's sort of the basic bitch story that I've got going on in my head. Whereas the truth is, all types like all types, and actually, I'm much more of a fuck my mind type person. Like you could be the buffest, most gorgeous, physically beautiful specimen on the planet, and if you don't talk to me about where you think the universe comes from, or what you think energy is, or what you think human consciousness is made of and where it comes from, I don't want to go to bed with you. Like, you know, the main way to turn me on is to ask me what consciousness is, and then just to like go there, and then I'm like, oh my god, take me to bed. And so it's this thing of, yeah, like the physical side of the way that we use our sexual and physical currency is so limiting. I also think it's primal and natural. I don't think there's anything wrong with it. I think that there is a huge imbalance in the way that we dismiss certain people
Mm.
based on an immediate set of judgments. And it's something that I've learned through pleasure medicine, and it's something I've learned through my erotic massage work that I've been doing for the last years, is that I have been able to sexually connect with physical types of men that have completely surprised me based on an energy and a feeling that that person comes
Mm.
with rather than just a set of physical attributes. But I think that takes a lot of deep excavating. I think it takes experimentation. And I think it really takes a deep internal interest in actually wanting to expand one's palette. I don't think it's just going to happen. I think you have to want
Mm.
to expand that, and that's not necessarily everyone's interest. I don't think it needs to be. I don't think it should be. I think it's morally neutral, but my experience has been really quite remarkable. At the moment, I'm exploring my I wouldn't call it a kink. That's too strong, but my sexual interest in cruising in the
Hmm.
woods near where I live. There's a woodland area, and there's like a little strip, let's say, where
I've walked through
men.
there with my straight friends. Didn't know it was a cruising area, but I could pick up the feeling pretty quickly while my
You have
friends
the
were
antenna,
blind to it. Yeah.
right? So there's something I love about this is connected to what we're talking about. There's something that I love about being in nature. So whether I meet anybody or not, I'm communing with nature. I'm doing nature photography, and I'm getting some good exercise. So for me, it's a win-win situation.
Hmm.
What I love about the cruising energy is that you can meet a different type of guy that you wouldn't swipe on an app and that you wouldn't sort of pursue in a club. And the transient nature of it means that you connect energetically a lot quicker with
Mm.
somebody in that setting rather than like a physical set of attributes. And for me, that it's been really healthy. It's really good for my confidence because I have connected with a lot of guys that way. So it's
Mm.
been really good for my self-esteem, my confidence. And it's
Mm.
also just expanded my palette of like what I'm
Mm.
into. Like I even there are guys that I would never have found physically attractive in the past that I've like connected with, where it's just been like a really
Mm.
amazing energy.
Mm.
So that's really interesting. I don't know if that's, yeah, helpful.
Oh, very. You've actually opened up some spicier topics than what we started with, and you take it or leave it. But if you want to, if you're open and want to follow down this road, I'm curious if you've got some advice, some distilled wisdom about how to achieve connection in hookups. So maybe that's in the woods in a cruising space. Maybe it's in another space. This is a habit that a lot of gay men have. We're on Grindr. We're on other places. Like looking for a relationship, but in lack of a relationship, we'll get that fixed. You know, and I have been the pleasant recipient of like a lot of comments about like, oh, I never expected so much, like connection or depth or something in that. And being a bit somatically informed, I think we naturally, have that to offer of ourselves. But starting from the baseline, speaking to the baseline culture, speaking to the baseline desire to go out and have sex, how can we bring a little attunement, a little bit of connection, a little bit of energetic sharing in the way that you're talking about?
Yeah, it's a great question. Obviously, it's the basis of my pleasure medicine work. The strapline is a new way for gay men to connect. So connection is really the heartbeat of the work that I do. First of all, I always like to define what I mean by said quality or word. So each
Mm,
person listening to this is going to have to define what you mean by connection. So you, Art, might mean something different by connection than what I mean by connection. So when I talk about connection, for me, doesn't have to be, but a lot of the time I like a psychological connection. I like a connection on an
mm,
intelligence level. That really turns me on. Now, in the cruising, there are different forms of connection. In the cruising in the woodlands, there are very few words spoken. So for me, it's an energetic connection or a physical connection. And I really feel that magnetic pull in my body or sort of repulsion. And I just really try to trust that. So,
mm,
first, define connection to me means, is it a feeling? Is it an idea? Is it physical? Is it psychological? Is it all those things? Is it something completely different? And it's, you get to define and decide what you mean.
mm.
One of my favorite spiritual teachers, Adyashanti, he's got a beautiful
Ah,
audio book called, yeah, you probably know. He's got
I'm
a
well into
beautiful,
Adyashanti.
I love him. He's one of the few spiritual teachers I think is the actual real deal.
Mm,
He has a audio book called The Most Important Thing. And the whole basis of the teaching is decide what you mean by being spiritual. Oh, I'm spiritual. I'm into spirituality. What the fuck do you mean? What does spirituality mean to you? What do you want to get from it? You can't just
mm,
wake up in the morning, go to your altar, light a candle, set an intention to be spiritual. It's like, what do you want from your spiritual practice? Define it. Because how do you know that you're getting the thing if you don't know what it means to you? So connection is a word that will get thrown around. Like, oh, I just want connection. I just want intimacy. I just want vulnerability. You're going to have to define what those qualities mean to you, because they're very wide, expanded, nebulous terms. So what does
mm.
connection mean for you? What does it feel like? How do you
What?
know you're going to, how do you know how do you know you're experiencing connection?
Yeah, that's an interesting question. Can I explore this a little bit more with you now? Getting a little spitbally. Um, I think my version of connection, and just trying to keep this within my own experience and see how it translates to yours. Really informed by this contact improv style. It has to do with noticing of an attunement of energy. And it could be this kind of psychic energy. It could be like mentally up here. Like we're having a conversation and I notice you're actually responding to the things that I'm saying. I notice like a little bit of expression so that stuff lands and you get the nuances of the question and you put back things that are interesting to me. And so we have that like kind of psychic connection up here. And then it could be physical as well, as it often is in the somatics and the contact dance, maybe ecstatic dance as well, where you feel other bodies moving in a kind of resonance. There's some sort of attunement. What I'm doing affects you, but then you add to that, and it affects me, and now there's this kind of connection of a dance, as opposed to kind of structures of organization where there's a principle, a person, an idea that we're all organizing around, and now we don't have to dynamically kind of work together to figure out the space. We don't have to dynamically work together to figure out what we're interested in this conversation. We will follow the template. We will do the things that are written in the script. We will like go to places and pick up the briefcases and put them down on the desks, and everything like works within the box. And you can have the person sitting in the cubicle beside you, and y'all can have talks, but the talks all kind of like follow some sort of template. There's not a connection because there's not something like deep within you that the person is responding to. Y'all are both responding to some sort of external thing, some sort of higher thing. Yeah, that's still abstract. It still covers so many layers, right? There's the physical, there's the mental, there's the emotional, there's the energetic. However many layers of us there are, there's like that kind of connection as well.
Yeah, I think it's a really good invitation to dive into for anybody listening who wants more connection in their gay and queer life in general, is to define what it means for you and to continue exploring it, because it will change based on how you feel that day or the week that you're having or where you are at in your life. So for me, connection, there's a very specific, at the moment, set of somatic signals that I'm connected to somebody. So actually right now I feel really connected to you. I feel such a good sense of connection. And how do I know that? Well, I know that connection for me needs to feel like the other person is interested in me. So I feel a genuine sense of intrigue and curiosity and interest. So that makes me feel good. I am really interested by you and intrigued by you. And so connection for me has to have this two-way. I have to feel curious about the other person as well. I know there's a slight imbalance because this is your session and you're sort of asking me and facilitating me, but I'd love to do this conversation again where I sort of lead the way and dive into more of you, and so I know that there's a good connection, because I'm like, I want to do this all again and I want to know about you and your work. I want to meet you again. I want to see you again. So that's a signal that there's a connection.
Wonderful.
Connection for me, I feel safe. I don't feel like I want to leave. I feel like I want to stay. I feel I feel coherent. I feel like my thoughts are just coming out of me really fully formed. If I don't feel a good sense of connection, I've done a couple of podcast interviews in the past where I've really struggled to piece together my thoughts and feelings in ways that I don't usually struggle with. And that's because I didn't feel a good connection. There wasn't a coherence or a symbiotic energy with that person. And that's nothing bad about them. It's just a chemistry thing, right? And so connection, that's what connection is for me. And so it's how I feel in my body. It's what I think in my mind. And it's the signal from the other person. Like I feel you really present, really listening, really there. So that's what connection means for me. And it might be something totally different for somebody else. If I'm having sex with somebody, I can feel safety and connection in the physical touch. Like that's more of a malleable, like that's really sort of more indefinable. I couldn't say exactly what that feels like, but it's a somatic knowing. So there's different forms of connection. There's sexual, there's psychological, there's emotional, there's all kinds of different.
And for people who go through this process of identifying, I want more connection. Okay, I need to figure out what I mean by that, and they go and define for them what connection means. I can imagine this situation that I was in, especially before I started engaging in body-focused somatic work. I came from yoga before, and yoga is a great spiritual practice, but it didn't for me, it didn't have the keys to the art of connection, like the somatic stuff did later. So I was in this situation where I want connection, and I had some idea of what that was. I was getting it. Sometimes I was feeling it. Definitely, there was some stuff in me that wasn't broadly ready to connect with people. There were some fears. There was some baggage. There were ulterior motives. There was not wanting you in my space, but like kind of a do, but also not. And from your experience or your work in somatics as a therapist, as a space holder, are there any threads that you could put people on who are looking to grow their own capacity for connection?
Yes, this is so good. This is one of my pieces that I talk about online a lot, and this is where my like tough love comes in.
Mm.
If you're saying you want connection, then you have to do something. You have to do your bit to create it. And what I did for a long time is say, I just want more connection. I want gay men to get to know me. I want gay men to accept me. And I would be like this.
Yeah.
Not
Yeah.
open to it at all.
Are you a
But
cat
I
person?
want connection. I'm standing there like that, unable to receive, not even noticing the connection that's coming my way. So if you want connection, you got to show up 50%. You've got to, in fact, show up 100% and let other people show up 100%. What does that mean? It means you have to go and do something different in your life. Go to different places. Go and hang out with different types of people. Because if you're not getting connection, then you're not in the right place, you're not with the right people, and you're not doing the right things. So this is why I say about pleasure medicine, or when people go, oh, I'm really nervous to come, I'm going to feel vulnerable, I'm going to be there on my own. It's like, you have to do that. That is something you're going to have to overcome. And this is part of my marketing thing, that I have to speak to, not what pleasure medicine is and what happens in it. I have to speak to all of the fear and all of the narratives and all of the stories that gay and queer men hold about going to do something wildly new and different. And if you want something wildly new and different than you've ever had, then you probably have to go and do something new and wildly different, right? Then you just have to open to it. You have to, to use the famous cliched phrase, you have to feel the fear and do it anyway. Having said that, just to reel in the tough love a little bit, you also have to be in a well-facilitated space for it. You have to find a safe space, a supported space, somebody who knows what they're doing, somebody who knows how to cultivate. I've been in some terrible workshops and spaces where, oh God, like you're going to like force me to like wrap my legs around somebody within like 5 minutes of entering the space. No, I don't want to be doing that like straight away. That's just not, maybe that's fine for some people. That's not fine for me. Yeah. And I'm super confident at like getting physical and naked. And I'm just like, whoa, let me enter the space first. So yeah, I suppose, yeah, you've got to do your part. You've got to do it.
Mm-hmm. You reminded me of, a little bit of my journey of becoming more comfortable with connection and staying in connection. I was describing to somebody earlier about contact improv. Again, this beautiful form. Look it up if someone hasn't ever seen it. But there are these dynamics of engaging with somebody and using them to support you, and starting interactions and leaving interactions, and negotiating a kind of flow together. And I had this thing where we'd be in it, and then I would end the dance. And I wouldn't be sure if I wanted to end the dance, but there was some kind of algorithm, there was some kind of general discomfort happening inside of me while I was in a connection. There was a discomfort inside of me that was in a connection, and it would cause me to break the connection. And you know what it was? Because it took a lot of introspecting and sitting with it in order to figure out what that algorithm was. And that algorithm was me thinking that they might be uncomfortable, me thinking that they might not want to be here with me. And look what happened. it was me. That's the power of manifestation, right? I'm like, oh, they may not want to be here with me, and then I break off the connection without being conscious of it. And it's hard to catch that in the moment. And for me, there's just one or two general principles that help me start to transform that pattern. One is just to stick with it a little longer. Stick with it a little longer than you're comfortable. Like, don't run at the first sign of discomfort. You're in a conversation with some people, or you're standing near somebody, and the body says, turn away. The body says, end this. Wait a few more beats in the conversation, and then register how it is and how it transforms. And then also, I started taking more stock of those like good interactions, these kind of satisfying, like good connections that I've had. I would take stock of these after the fact. My format is to do a video diary in the evening. So I'm talking to myself, and I'm going through like the events of the day. And then I get to this part where I was like in this connection with this person. I realized like, oh wait, there was these weird, like, there were these fears in me at the beginning. Or there were these fears in me that like kind of popped up along the way. But look how beautiful it turned out. And the process of going back later to recognize that like, oh, it sits in my memory as this like wonderful connection I had. I can also put that side by side with the fear and understand that there's this process that moves in connection. Sometimes the fear can be present. Sometimes it can be loud. Sometimes it can be insurmountable from whatever your nervous system state is at that time. But a lot of times it's part of the game of like moving into something more beautiful. So I think that ties in with your try something different, try something a little fearful, and stick with it a few beats longer than you're comfortable.
Yeah, there's something that I teach in the opening circle at Pleasure Medicine that speaks to this. And it's introducing the participants to the difference between a full body hard no and an edge that can be leaned into where there might be something on the other side of it. Those two quadrants can be challenging to know the difference between. Because for me, I've been a student of 5 rhythms, ecstatic dance, and movement medicine for about 9 or 10 years. And when I first started it, I was a chronic people pleaser. I couldn't leave a dynamic with another dancer because I thought I would break their heart. I mean, the arrogance. The whole while, they're probably desperate to get away from me. And so I would remain in these dynamics thinking, I don't want to be here anymore, but I can't break this person's heart. And through the practice of many, many, many years, started to learn the difference between, I don't want to dance with this person. I don't know why. It's just a boom. Rather than, I'm not keen. So I think that the feeling of, that's an edge. You can go, okay, and then you've got to decide, do I want to lean into an edge right now? Am I in the right place to lean into an edge? So then you decide. So there's quite a few layers to move through. The hard full body, I think, follow that. So one of the games that I play in Pleasure Medicine in the connection workshop piece is a really fun game called Hi Bitch, Bye Bitch.
Tell me.
so I play a piece of dance music, really good beat, really funky. And the instruction is to move around the space, dancing in the beat, and you come into contact with another dancer and you dance together for like 4 bars or 8 bars or however you, and the idea is to, what are we're doing? We're gonna do this. We're figuring out what we're doing together, and you just sort of let it emerge. And the idea is you say, hi bitch, with a dance. And then as soon as you're done, you just turn off and you, bye bitch, and you move on.
Yeah.
Practicing how to just leave in a light and fun and no narrative way. Because we've got to learn to come out of a dynamic when we are done with the dynamic. Not because that person did something wrong and we don't like them and this isn't working for me. I'm just done here.
Yeah.
And there's a really elegant way you're dancing with somebody, and then you just, and it's really nice.
Mm.
You know, thank you. Sometimes you might have a hug. You know, you're
Uh,
inviting, saying yes and saying no, and then you just spin off and you spiral off into the next dynamic, whether that's on your own or with another person. So I
mhm.
love to play these fun. I want to make it light and easy. Hi, bitch. Bye, bitch. And I actually get them to say bye, bitch. When they're done,
Good.
bye, bitch.
Good.
And it just brings a lightness and bye, bitch. And it's nice. It's fun. It shows you can
Yeah.
get involved and you can get uninvolved as well.
Oh, this is so fantastic. Thank you so much for the facilitation ideas as well. I'm guiding a contact improv like intro session and then jam this evening. So some of these exercises will work similarly to help us get more comfortable in these dynamics. So do you mind
Yeah.
if I take high bitch, bye
Yeah.
bitch and the
Use it.
back to back dancing?
Take, steal, use, spread the word. You don't have to use the word bitch if it doesn't come naturally to you, but it's very in my playful vocabulary. You can just say it's called hi,
Yeah.
bye, or hello, goodbye, whatever. But my community tend to love me using the word bitch.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. That really breaks the ice. We'll find our other terminology. I'll let you know how it goes too.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Um, and now I'm just thrilled by this conversation. It's been really awesome to get this sense of connection with you over these topics that are like near and dear to our hearts. I hope they're meaningful to people. I want to um, start wrapping this conversation up, open to the next one that we have after these ideas have fermented and commenters have said like what's standing out to them and what they want to hear more of. But can I ask you to give me one big idea um, before we really do close off, which is like if you had the opportunity to disseminate one piece of advice, gay men across the globe, to the kind of folk who could potentially come to pleasure medicine, to the folk who are longing for connection. If there was like a line that they needed to hear, something that they needed to realize, something that they needed to discover in themselves, find in their bodies, what's on your heart to share with them?
I get a comment a lot online when I share about pleasure medicine. And it makes me really sad uh, that so many guys don't believe what I'm saying. I get a lot of, oh, yeah, fantasy world, way too good to be true. Gay men can't be in a space without blah, 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 blah.
Mm,
Really, really clenched, contracted comments. And at first it really pissed me off. And I was also defensive and like, well, in the comments. And as I've grown over the last year and a half doing this, I've realized that this is from such a, it's their life experience.
right.
That is what they've experienced, and it's really common. And so the one thing I'd love to say to everybody is that something different and new is possible.
Mm,
You have
hmm
to go and find it, and if you're in a part of the world where it doesn't exist, you might have to create it. You don't have to do an ecstatic dance. You can do anything. You can create a group, create a community, reach out and just create a regular coffee club. It can be
mm,
that simple. Create a book club, create a walking group. If you don't have it near you, you might have to make it. And you have to do something.
mm, mm.
That's what I would love to say. And I know it's possible because we're doing it with pleasure medicine. And it's transformative. It's deeply healing. It's totally unique. And we're privileged because we're in London. It's so easy to create a community in London because you have all of the people there, all of the people hungry for it, all of the studios, all of the resources. So easy. I totally understand. If you're in a part of the world where that is not as easy, you're going to have to get creative. But something
Hmm.
new, different is possible.
Something different is possible. And we are creating We are creating this culture. We're creating the community. So let's be active participants. Be active participants in creating what we want to be a part of. That's so
As
excellent.
I say, be the gay you want to see in the world.
Oh, I was trying to slide around the Gandhi quote without giving it word for word, and that is just the most perfect take on it for this moment.
I'm going to get
Thank you,
t-shirts,
Gary.
pleasure medicine t-shirts. Be the gay you want to see in the world.
Be the gay you want to see in the world. Folks, be the gay you want to see in the world. Gary, thanks so much for this conversation.
Bye, bitch.
Bye, bitch. See you next time.